I walked into his office and he introduced me as his sister, smiling. Okay, so this happened. I froze. My mouth went dry. He kept talking like nothing. You know that feeling, right? And here is where it gets worse. Our phones showed matching calendars for dinner. His coworkers smirked. One lifted a brow. My hands went cold. The worst part, I had no idea. I opened my bag and checked the intake packet I helped him format for a new client. The nickname field showed my name in quotes beside his. Document proof, right there, that he labeled me family. A fine coffee ring stained the corner. His voice carried down the hall. He guided me outside. I pulled up our last chat. What was that? He rubbed his neck. They assume things. Do you correct them? His voice went light. It's easier this way. I stared. Easier for who? He pocketed his badge. For us now. I know what you're thinking. Walk away. I should have. Instead, I followed him to the carnival because the tickets were on my phone. He bought wristbands and kept joking, and I tried to keep my voice steady. Then a woman from his team waved from a booth. He didn't correct her. My jaw locked. Back at my place, I scrolled 23 shared dinners this year. 72 late-night calls, 4 weekends away. Quantities don't lie. At this point, I'm done. I opened my notes and typed every boundary I could think of, then stared at the list like it might save me. The next morning, I met him at a cafe to talk. The barista set 2 mugs down. He slid mine closer. You looked pale last night. I pushed the mug back. Why, sister? He glanced at the door. It keeps the peace. With who? Coworkers, dates, everyone. I kept my eyes on his. We sleep in the same bed sometimes. His voice went flat. That's why it keeps the peace. I let out air, explain. He leaned in, elbows close. People judge lines. If I call you a friend, they press. If I call you a sister, they back off. My chest tightened. You use me as cover, he looked almost relieved. Exactly. The worst fear confirmed right there, as casual as weather. I opened my phone and toggled to photos. Look, a selfie at the lake. Another at a movie. A third at his office. You send flowers, you bring soup. You call every day. He exhaled. I care about you as a sister, I replied. Right. I pulled out a printed screenshot of our rideshare history. 4 months, 3 times weekly. My place to yours after midnight. His eyes flicked to the timestamps. You don't see how that reads. He stirred his coffee. It reads like comfort. I lowered my voice. It reads like a relationship. He watched the door again. Words complicate simple things. I felt heat rise in my face. Put it in words now. His shoulders lifted, then dropped. You're my safest person, not my partner. Leave and risk losing 12 years. I sat very still. I called my therapist. She listened, then gave it plain. If this continues, she said, your body will keep telling you the truth with symptoms. One more incident could trigger a panic response. You need language and limits. My leg bounced. What if he refuses labels? Then you choose yourself, she replied. That evening, I asked him to meet and agree on boundaries. He dodged and changed the subject. I tried again. He joked about sibling discounts at restaurants. I just stood there thinking, if the person won't help, what now? Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to hide. I wondered if naming anything would burn the bridge forever. Now, I know what you're thinking. Be brave, okay? I drafted a message with 3 lines. 1, please stop calling me your sister. 2, if you want a relationship, say so. 3, if not, we need space. I hovered over send, pressed, then put the phone face down on the table. He replied within minutes. Let's talk after work. We met in his lobby. I grabbed the metal rail as the elevator opened. His employee badge had a tiny sticker of a heart next to my name from some office joke. My fingers went cold. Walk? We walked. I read your message, and I can't date you, he said softly, but I can't lose you. I swallowed. Then you already have. Don't do this. You did it, I replied. When you renamed me, you're overreacting. I held up my phone. 23 dinners, 72 calls, 4 weekends. You kept count. I nodded because it mattered. You're my family. Family who never gets chosen, I said. My throat burned. He reached for my arm. I stepped away. Stop, he blinked. What now? I'm stepping back, I answered. No calls, no late nights, no bed. So that's it. Unless you want more, do you? He looked past me. No, there it was, clean and terrible. I walked home and set my phone on silent mode. It lit the counter anyway. Messages stacked. Missed calls added new lines. I lay on the couch and watched the ceiling until my eyes stung. Then I opened my laptop and typed a new contact name for him. Not his first name, not brother, just distance. And that's when it happened. Around 2 in the morning, my doorbell rang over and over. I held my breath and checked the peephole. He stood there with a bag of takeout and that half-apology smile. My chest went tight. He knocked, open up. I spoke through the door. Go home. We always fix things at night. We're not fixing this, I said. We're ending it. A pause, then a laugh I didn't recognize. You won't. You're not built for ending. This is where everything fell apart. He slid a note under the door. It was a printed screenshot of old messages, all the hearts, all the plans. One line at the bottom in his handwriting. You are my sister forever. My hand shook. Do I call someone? Do I open the door? Do I let the night pass and deal with it in daylight? Your move, right? I kept still and counted breaths until my hands stopped shaking enough to think clearly for another minute tonight. Around midnight, the messages started coming from numbers I didn't recognize, each calling me his sister with little winks and hearts. Okay, so this got creepy fast. I blocked one. Another appeared. I blocked again. They kept coming. Here is where it gets crazy. A coworker forwarded me a group chat screenshot. He had introduced me as family for months. Another screenshot showed him correcting someone at work. Then he listed my address for a barbecue invite, like I belonged to him. I drove to a copy place and printed everything. He sent a selfie at my door, he called. I picked up. His voice sounded bright. Open up. I brought food. No. Come on, he said. We don't sleep angry. We're not siblings, I replied. Stop naming me that. His tone turned brittle. You're being dramatic. You made me a title I never chose. You know I can't lose you. Then be honest, I answered. Name what this is. He breathed through the line. Comfort. I hung up. By morning, my stomach was a knot. I booked an appointment with HR at my own office, not his. The manager offered a plan. She asked about a no-contact letter. I agreed. Bring friends. 2 neighbors agreed to help. I told my building manager. I told my therapist. The circle closed. That afternoon, he texted a photo of a necklace I gave him years ago. Caption: Sisters don't give gifts like this. I placed my phone face down and breathed through my nose until the shaking eased. A burner account posted our lake photo. That evening, I met him at a cafe to return his spare key. I put it on the table. We're done, I said. You'll regret this. Threat, I replied. Okay, it's not a threat. It's a prediction. I slid a paper across. The no-contact letter with dates and expectations. You brought paperwork. Because you ignore words, you'd burn 12 years. I'm saving what's left, I answered. He dropped his voice. You can't actually live without me. Watch me, I said. You don't mean it. Keys now. He placed the ring on the table. One detail stood out. A tiny scratch on the fob from the time we moved a couch, and it caught the doorframe. I slipped the ring into my pocket. For 3 days, quiet. A message arrived from his mother's number. Please talk. He's spiraling. I wrote back one line. I'm not his keeper. My building manager called. A delivery was sitting in the lobby addressed to me from him. Inside the box was a canvas print of our carnival photo. Across the bottom, in neat letters, Sister Forever. That night, I called my therapist. Document, then disengage, she told me. If he escalates, file for a protection order. I don't want to crush him. You're not crushing him, she replied. You're protecting yourself. I slept with my phone on silent. At dawn, a message appeared from a mutual friend. He was outside her place drunk, telling her I abandoned family. She told him to leave. I kept working the plan. I gathered witness statements. I saved screenshots. I mapped a timeline from September to now. I walked into the courthouse on a Friday morning and requested forms. They slid across the counter. I sat and filled blanks, name, address. Description of events. Concrete examples. The box for threats got a single sentence. You'll regret this. I signed and took a number for the judge's calendar. He must have followed my stories online because he appeared outside the courthouse as I stepped onto the sidewalk. You do this to me. I'm doing this for me. You're making it official. You did that the second you stamped a title on me. He leaned closer. You promised we were forever. I promised nothing of the kind, I answered. You wrote that script. You're not thinking straight. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in months, he smiled. Okay, if I can't have the sister thing, I'll tell people the other thing. What other thing? That you begged me to make it more, he murmured. That I turned you down. That you're obsessed. The pivot arrived. I'll survive your story, I said. You'll hate the comments. Leave. He lifted his phone. See you online. Notifications lit up. Anonymous posts showed our photos with captions twisting every scene. He called me unstable. He called me a stalker. He called me a liar who couldn't take a joke. People chimed in with guesses. I sat down. Part of me wanted to fire back. Part of me wanted to disappear. I wondered if any version of this ends without breaking something permanent. Monday morning, I filed the petition. The judge reviewed and set a hearing for the following week. A temporary order issued. No contact, no showing up, no posting identifiable photos. Papers were served that afternoon. Then my old number rang. I answered without thinking. So that's how it is. It is. Court. You always liked rules more than people. I like safety, I replied. We'll see what your friends think when I share the messages. Share them, I answered. They show care and confusion, not consent to your label. You still don't get it. Get what? That comfort is a currency. I paid you for years. I'm not a service. Too late, he replied. The account is closed. My neighbor stayed with me until morning. We watched the peephole. I lay awake counting hours. At dawn, I gathered my folder. I wrote 3 reminders on a sticky note for my pocket. Tiny anchors I could touch when the noise got loud. Breathe. Speak plain. Ask the judge for clarity. Because the biggest danger now is letting his storyline drown out my own in that room today. And I walked out to face the judge with my hands steady for the first time in weeks. Just after dawn on hearing day, I stood outside the courtroom with my folder while he paced and performed. The judge asks direct questions. I answer yes. The judge marks the file. I hand over the logs and the canvas. Sister Forever sits under glass. She says labels carry weight and imposed labels become coercive. She signs the order. 1 year, no contact, conditions spelled out. His face cracks. Outside, the bailiff angles between us. He mutters that I ruined everything. I keep moving and tell him I spared myself. I walk past him and don't look back now. I know what you're thinking. That should be the end. But endings for real people are messy. Friends choose sides and some call me cruel. I block fresh numbers. I send screenshots to a folder. My therapist helps me script language for curious friends. One evening, an apology email ends with a request to talk. I forward it to my lawyer and reply with order language, no contact. Weeks pass. My shoulders start to drop. I sleep longer. I cook, meet a neighbor for coffee, delete old playlists, reclaim corners. Then a new account twists a line from my petition into a joke. My throat tightens. I file a violation report. The platform takes it down within a day. The clerk emails a reminder document, then report. It starts feeling like maintenance instead of war. Then his mother calls again. I let it go to voicemail. He's moving. New job 2 towns over. Relief arrives in inches. A morning without the peephole. A week without scanning comments. A night where I watch a movie and forget a phone. Months later, I box up the canvas and the printed logs and add them to a folder. One detail catches my eye, the tiny scratch on the key fob. I tape the box and put it on a shelf. A mutual friend messages. He admits he hyped the sister bit for social points. I meet him outside and let him talk. He apologizes and offers to correct rumors. I nod. Do it, I say. He follows through. A few posts disappear. A few apologies appear. I delete the nasty ones on Sundays as a ritual. Then a message lands from a woman I don't know. She writes that he did the sister thing to her once, years ago. She warns that when he loses access, he hoards memories as proof someone will return. Her note is kind. I thank her and close the window. The year passes in pieces. I learn to say no without explaining. I stop answering performative why questions. I plan holidays without him. I start sleeping through the night. I feel my life opening like a hallway with doors I actually choose. Near the end, I get a review hearing letter. I bring my folder and my calm. He doesn't appear. The judge asks if I want to extend. I listen to my body. My hands stay warm and my breathing easy. I ask for 6 more months. Granted, when I step outside, the day feels normal. Ordinary details return. I meet someone for a low-stakes coffee on a Sunday. We talk about podcasts and bad burritos. When he walks me out, he asks. I pause. Not yet. He smiles. Okay. My shoulders loosen another inch now. I know what you're thinking. Did I ever miss him? I miss the script of late-night calls. Habits quiet with time. At the final hearing, the judge thanks me for coming prepared. She says most people lean on anger instead of documentation. You brought structure, she says. That matters. I walk out of the courthouse and stand still for a minute. I write a short list in my journal. Ask questions early. Notice who renames you. Count what hurts. Believe your body. Choose yourself without apology. I close the journal and put it back on the shelf. Later, I thank the neighbors, the coworker, and HR. I book a weekend alone, a short drive, a quiet room, a pool I can float in without waiting for a phone. Do I forgive him? Some days yes, some days no. Boundaries bring peace. Months later, I run into his mother at a market. She asks if I'll say hello to him if I ever feel like it. I wish her well and buy apples. I don't carry her request home. On a random Tuesday, a friend texts a photo from a distant wedding with him in the background. I put the phone down and open my laptop. I open a draft of this story. So here is the thing. If someone names you something you never chose, believe them. If someone calls control comfort, believe what they value. I close the box labeled lessons and breathe. I text my neighbor about dinner and set my phone down. I let the room be quiet without checking a peephole. I smile because quiet is choice. I choose quiet over chaos and proof over promises, and I choose myself without flinching. So yeah, that's my story.